In an era marked by environmental degradation, economic inequality, and social fragmentation, the practice of commoning emerges as a compelling alternative to conventional approaches to resource management and governance. Commoning, rooted in the principles of collective action, inclusivity, and sustainability, offers a transformative vision for building resilient, just, and sustainable societies. Howdy. I'm just some random nude dude sitting in my closet talking to myself. It's also where I celebrate the power of free thinking and encourage bold ideas. As a society, we're often afraid to challenge the norms and think outside the box. But here, I embrace the unconventional. So sit back, relax, and join me on this journey of exploration, where we embrace our inner nude dude and push boundaries to discover new perspectives. At its core, commoning involves communities collectively managing and governing common resources, whether tangible assets like land and water, or intangible ones like knowledge and culture. This practice, deeply ingrained in human history, reflects a fundamental principle of shared responsibility and stewardship over resources essential for community well-being. In recent years, commoning has experienced a resurgence as communities seek alternative models to address pressing challenges such as climate change, economic inequality, and social injustice. From urban gardens to community-supported agriculture to digital commons and open access initiatives, modern commoning practices encompass a diverse array of efforts to reclaim collective agency over essential resources. The principles of commoning are grounded in democratic decision-making, equitable access and distribution, and cultural and ecological respect. By prioritizing collective benefit over individual gain, commoning challenges prevailing notions of ownership and control, fostering a sense of ownership, connection, and empowerment among community members. This essay explores the multifaceted dimensions of commoning, delving into its principles, practices, challenges, and resilience. Through an examination of commoning's role in promoting community empowerment, inclusivity, and equity, we uncover its potential to reshape our understanding of governance, economics, and social relations. Furthermore, we explore how commoning extends beyond tangible resources to encompass intangible assets such as knowledge, culture, and digital platforms. By democratizing access to knowledge, preserving cultural heritage, and promoting open access in the digital sphere, commoning enriches collective understanding and fosters greater collaboration and innovation. Despite facing challenges such as enclosures, institutional resistance, and power dynamics, commoning communities demonstrate resilience by adapting to changing circumstances, building solidarity, and innovating collaborative solutions. Through a comprehensive analysis of commoning's principles, practices, and outcomes, we gain insights into its transformative potential for building more resilient, just, and sustainable societies. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, commoning offers a promising pathway towards addressing the interconnected challenges of our time. By embracing principles of collective stewardship, inclusivity, and solidarity, commoning empowers individuals and communities to shape their own destinies and create a more equitable, resilient, and flourishing world for present and future generations. Commoning, as a practice, traces its roots back to ancient times when communities relied on shared resources for survival. These shared resources, known as commons, encompass land for grazing, water for irrigation, forests for timber, and other essentials necessary for sustaining life. The management and governance of these commons were often collectively undertaken by community members who established informal rules and norms to ensure sustainable use and equitable distribution. Throughout history, commoning has taken various forms, reflecting the cultural, social, and ecological contexts of different communities. In medieval Europe, for instance, Village commons served as communal lands where peasants grazed livestock, harvested firewood, and cultivated crops collectively. Similarly, indigenous societies around the world have practiced commoning for generations, managing shared territories and natural resources through customary laws and traditional governance systems. In contemporary times, commoning has experienced a resurgence as communities seek alternative approaches to resource management and governance. From urban gardens and community-supported agriculture to digital commons and open access initiatives, modern commoning practices reflect the diverse array of efforts to reclaim collective agency over essential resources. One defining characteristic of commoning is its emphasis on participatory decision-making and shared responsibility. In commoning arrangements, community members come together to discuss, negotiate, and implement rules governing the use and stewardship of common resources. This collaborative process fosters a sense of ownership and accountability among participants, encouraging them to take an active role in managing their shared environment. Moreover, commoning challenges prevailing notions of ownership and control by advocating for shared access and equitable distribution of resources. Rather than viewing resources as commodities to be exploited for individual gain, commoning recognizes the interconnectedness of communities and ecosystems, prioritizing collective well-being over private interests. Central to the practice of commoning is the concept of stewardship, the responsible and sustainable management of resources for present and future generations. By embracing principles of stewardship, communities acknowledge their role as caretakers of the commons, tasked with preserving ecological integrity and promoting social justice. Overall, commoning embodies a vision of collaborative governance and mutual aid, rooted in principles of solidarity, reciprocity, and respect for diversity. As communities grapple with pressing challenges such as climate change, economic inequality, and social fragmentation, commoning offers a viable pathway towards building a more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable society. At its core, commoning is guided by a set of principles that inform the collective management and governance of commons resources. These principles serve as foundational values, shaping the interactions, decisions, and practices within commoning communities. Commoning emphasizes the shared responsibility of community members towards the stewardship of common resources. Rather than relying on centralized authority and market forces, commoning recognizes the collective agency of communities in safeguarding and managing their shared environment. Key to commoning is the practice of democratic decision-making, where community members participate in the formulation and implementation of rules and norms governing the use of common resources. This participatory process ensures that decisions are inclusive, transparent, and reflective in the diverse needs and perspectives within the community. Commoning prioritizes equitable access to commons resources, ensuring that benefits are distributed fairly among community members. By challenging systems of privilege and exclusion, commoning seeks to address socioeconomic disparities and promote social justice within communities. Commoning recognizes the dynamic and evolving nature of commons resources and the need for adaptive governance structures. Communities often employ flexible and responsive mechanisms for managing resources, allowing for continuous adaptation to changing environmental, social, and economic conditions. Central to commoning is the deep respect for cultural diversity and ecological integrity. Communities honor traditional knowledge, customs, and practices that have sustained commons resources for generations. Additionally, commoning practices prioritize ecological sustainability, seeking to minimize environmental degradation and promote regenerative practices. Commoning fosters a spirit of solidarity and mutual aid among community members who recognize their interdependence and shared fate. Through collaboration, cooperation, and collective action, communities support one another in times of need, strengthening social bonds and resilience. Commoning promotes openness and transparency in decision-making processes, ensuring that information is accessible and shared freely among community members. Transparent governance fosters trust, accountability, and active participation, enabling communities to effectively manage commons resources. Recognizing the inherent complexity and uncertainty of socio-ecological systems, commoning prioritizes resilience and adaptation. Communities develop strategies and practices that enhance their capacity to cope with and respond to external shocks, disruptions, and changes, fostering long-term sustainability and well-being. By adhering to these principles, commoning communities create spaces for collaboration, innovation, and collective action, challenging dominant paradigms of ownership and control. Through shared responsibility, democratic governance, and equitable distribution, commoning offers a transformative approach to resource management that promotes resilience, inclusivity, and sustainability within communities. One of the defining aspects of commoning is its ability to empower communities through active participation and collaboration in the management of common resources. This empowerment arises from several key mechanisms inherent in the practice of commoning. By involving community members in the decision-making processes related to common resources, commoning cultivates a sense of ownership and investment in the well-being of the shared environment. Individuals feel greater connection to the resources they collectively manage, leading to increased responsibility and stewardship. Commoning promotes a development of social capital, the networks of relationships, trust, and reciprocity among community members. Through collaborative efforts to manage common resources, individuals build strong social ties, which serve as a foundation for mutual support, resilience, and collective action. Participation in commoning activities provides opportunities for community members to develop valuable skills and capabilities, whether through decision-making processes, conflict resolution, or resource management practices. Individuals gain practical experience and knowledge that can be applied in various contexts, enhancing their agency and confidence. Commoning encompasses open dialogue, deliberation, and consensus building among community members. By creating spaces for discussion and debate, commoning enables diverse voices and perspectives to be heard, fostering a sense of inclusivity and respect for differing viewpoints. Engaging in commoning activities can serve as a pathway to broader civic engagement and participation in local governance processes. As community members become more involved in the management of commons resources, they often develop a deeper understanding of democratic principles and civic responsibilities, leading to increased involvement in community affairs. Commoning has the potential to empower marginalized groups within communities by providing them with a platform to voice their concerns and assert their rights. By prioritizing inclusivity and equity, commoning initiatives create opportunities for traditionally marginalized individuals to participate in decision-making processes and access common resources on an equal footing. Through shared experiences and collaborative efforts, commoning fosters a sense of collective identity and solidarity among community members. This sense of belonging strengthens social cohesion and resilience, enabling communities to address challenges and pursue common goals effectively. Overall, empowerment through participation lies at the heart of commoning, as communities come together to collectively manage and govern their shared resources. By fostering a sense of ownership, building social capital, and promoting civic engagement, commoning empowers individuals and communities to shape their own destinies and build more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable societies. Commons-based initiatives prioritize inclusivity and equity within communities by challenging conventional notions of ownership and promoting shared access to resources. This emphasis on inclusivity and equity is fundamental to the ethos of commoning and manifests in several key ways. Commons-based initiatives strive to ensure that commons resources are accessible to all members of the community, regardless of socioeconomic status, race, gender, or other identifying markers. By removing barriers to access, such as financial constraints or discriminatory practices, commoning promotes a more inclusive and egalitarian distribution of resources. In contrast to market-driven approaches that prioritize profit maximization, commoning recognizes and addresses the diverse needs and interests of community members. Through participatory decision-making processes, communities can identify and prioritize the needs of marginalized or underrepresented groups, ensuring that commons resources are allocated equitably to meet those needs. Commons-based initiatives contribute to the reduction of socioeconomic disparities by providing opportunities for resource sharing and collective action. By pooling resources and knowledge, communities can address common challenges such as food insecurity, housing affordability, and access to health care, thereby narrowing the gap between the privileged and marginalized members of society. Commoning empowers marginalized groups within communities by amplifying their voices and providing them with a platform to participate in decision-making processes. By challenging systems of oppression and exclusion, commons-based initiatives create spaces where traditionally marginalized individuals can assert their rights and contribute to shaping the shared resources that affect their lives. Commons-based initiatives celebrate and preserve cultural and linguistic diversity within communities by recognizing the value of traditional knowledge and practices. By incorporating diverse perspectives and worldviews, commoning enriches the collective understanding of resource management and fosters greater cultural exchange and appreciation. Commoning promotes environmental justice by advocating for sustainable and regenerative practices that prioritize the well-being of both people and the planet. By acknowledging the interconnectedness of social and ecological systems, commons-based initiatives seek to address environmental injustices disproportionately borne by marginalized communities, such as pollution, habitat destruction, and climate change impacts. Inclusive and equitable governance structures are central to commons-based initiatives, ensuring that decision-making processes reflect the diversity of community perspectives and interests. By promoting democratic principles of representation and participation, commoning fosters greater accountability, transparency, and responsiveness to the needs of all stakeholders. Through these mechanisms, common-based initiatives not only challenge existing systems of privilege and exclusion, but are also actively working towards creating a more just, inclusive, and resilient community. By prioritizing inclusivity and equity, commoning offers a transformative model for resource management that empowers individuals and communities to collectively address social and environmental challenges in a manner that promotes justice and sustainability. And on the topic of privileged versus marginalized groups, if you don't think there are marginalized or oppressed groups, you're privileged. That's how you tell the difference. In addition to tangible resources like land, water, and forests, commoning extends to intangible assets such as knowledge, culture, and digital platforms. This expansion reflects a recognition of the importance of intangible resources in shaping communities and fostering collective well-being. Commoning in the realm of knowledge involves the creation and sharing of information, ideas, and innovations for the public good. Open-source software projects, collaborative research networks, and community-driven educational initiatives exemplify how knowledge can be collectively produced and shared to benefit society. By embracing principles of openness and collaboration, knowledge commons challenge proprietary models of knowledge production and promote access and participation for all. Commoning encompasses the preservation and sharing of cultural heritage, traditions, and practices within communities. Cultural Commons initiatives seek to protect and promote diverse cultural expressions, languages, and customs, recognizing them as shared assets that contribute to the richness and resilience of society. This includes efforts to safeguard traditional knowledge systems held by indigenous peoples and local communities, ensuring their continued transmission and vitality for future generations. The rise of digital technologies has expanded the scope of commoning to include digital platforms, data, and online communities. Digital Commons initiatives advocate for open access to digital resources and platforms, challenging monopolistic control and promoting democratic participation in the digital sphere. Projects such as open access journals, free software movements, and community-owned internet infrastructure embody the principles of digital commoning, fostering collaboration, innovation, and digital rights. Commoning extends to the realm of artistic and creative expression, where communities come together to produce, share, and celebrate cultural works and performances. Community-based arts initiatives provide spaces for collective creativity, cultural exchange, and storytelling, strengthening social bonds and fostering a sense of belonging. By democratizing access to artistic resources and platforms, commoning enables diverse voices and perspectives to be heard and valued in the cultural landscape. And tagging isn't part of the commons unless you own or have permission to tag the property you're spray painting. Otherwise, it's just vandalism. Commoning in education involves the democratization of learning resources and opportunities for lifelong learning. Open educational resources, community-based learning networks, and peer-to-peer educational platforms exemplify how knowledge can be collectively produced, shared, and disseminated outside traditional institutional frameworks. By empowering individuals to take control of their learning journey and collaborate with others, educational commons initiatives promote self-directed learning, critical thinking, and civic engagement. By extending commoning practices to intangible assets and knowledge commons, communities harness the power of collective action and collaboration to address pressing challenges and promote the well-being of individuals and society as a whole. Through open access, participatory government, and shared stewardship, intangible commons initiatives contribute to building more inclusive, resilient, and equitable communities in an increasingly interconnected world. While commoning offers numerous benefits, it also faces various challenges that can test the resilience of commons-based initiatives. Understanding and addressing these challenges is crucial for ensuring the long-term sustainability and effectiveness of commoning's practices. One of the primary challenges commoning faces is the threat of enclosures, the privatization or appropriation of common resources for private gain. Enclosures can occur through legal mechanisms, market forces, or state interventions, depriving communities of access to vital resources and undermining their autonomy and self-determination. Resisting enclosures requires vigilance, collective action, and advocacy for policies that protect and promote commoning's practices. Commons-based initiatives often encounter resistance from entrenched institutional structures that favor centralized control and top-down decision-making. Bureaucratic barriers, regulatory hurdles, and lack of recognition pose significant challenges to the implementation and scaling of commoning projects. Overcoming institutional resistance requires building alliances, advocating for policy reform, and demonstrating the effectiveness and legitimacy of commons-based approaches. Power imbalances within communities can undermine the inclusivity and equity of commoning practices, leading to marginalization and exclusion by certain groups. Addressing power dynamics requires creating spaces for dialogue, fostering trust and mutual respect, and ensuring that decision-making processes are transparent and participatory. Empowering marginalized voices and promoting social justice are essential for building resilient and equitable commons. Commons resources are susceptible to depletion, degradation, and overexploitation due to environmental degradation, climate change, or unsustainable practices. Protecting and managing common resources sustainably requires adapting regenerative practices, enforcing rules and norms, and building resilience to environmental shocks. Strengthening ecological literacy and fostering a deeper connection to the natural world are essential for ensuring the long-term health of commons ecosystems. Conflicts and disputes over resource use, allocation, and governance can arise within commoning communities, threatening their cohesion and effectiveness. Addressing conflicts requires robust conflict resolution mechanisms, mediation processes, and capacity building for conflict prevention and management. Cultivating a culture of dialogue, empathy, and compromise is essential for navigating tensions and building consensus within commoning communities. Commons-based initiatives often face pressure from external actors, including market forces, investors, and extractive industries, seeking to exploit or commodify commons resources for profit. Resisting external pressures requires building alliances, mobilizing community support, and advocating for alternative economic models that prioritize the well-being of people and the planet over short-term profits. Strengthening community resilience and self-reliance is essential for resisting external encroachment and safeguarding commons resources for future generations. In navigating these challenges, commoning communities demonstrate resilience by adapting to changing circumstances, building solidarity, and innovating collaborative solutions. By embracing principles of collective action, inclusivity, and sustainability, commoning offers a transformative pathway towards building more resilient, just, and sustainable societies in the face of complex and interconnected challenges. Commoning represents a powerful and transformative approach to resource management and governance, rooted in principles of collective action, inclusivity, and sustainability. By reclaiming collective agency over common resources, communities empower themselves to address the pressing challenges and build more resilient, just, and sustainable societies. Through commoning, communities assert their autonomy and stewardship over shared resources, challenging dominant paradigms of ownership and control. By prioritizing principles of equity, solidarity, and mutual aid, commoning promotes social justice and reduces inequality within communities. Moreover, commoning fosters a sense of belonging, connection, and empowerment among community members, strengthening social cohesion and resilience. Inclusive and equitable governance structures are central to commoning, ensuring that decision-making processes reflect the diversity of community perspectives and interests. By promoting democratic principles of representation and participation, commoning fosters greater accountability, transparency, and responsiveness to the needs of all stakeholders. Commoning extends beyond tangible resources to encompass intangible assets such as knowledge, culture, and digital platforms. By democratizing access to knowledge, preserving cultural heritage, and promoting open access in the digital sphere, commoning enriches collective understanding and fosters greater collaboration and innovation. Despite facing challenges such as enclosures, institutional resistance, and power dynamics, commoning communities demonstrate resilience by adapting to changing circumstances, building solidarity, and innovating collaborative solutions. By cultivating a culture of dialogue, empathy, and cooperation, commoning enables communities to navigate conflicts and disputes, building consensus and resilience in the face of adversity. Commoning offers a promising pathway towards building more resilient, just, and sustainable societies. By embracing principles of collective stewardship, inclusivity, and solidarity, Commenting empowers individuals and communities to shape their own destinies and address the complex challenges of the 21st century. As we continue to confront pressing issues such as climate change, economic inequality, and social injustice, commenting provides a blueprint for building a more equitable, resilient, and flourishing world for present and future generations. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found this video informative and thought-provoking. This is the point where others tell you, if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more information just like this. But we know that kind of thing is for losers. Don't be a loser. And as always, I welcome your feedback and ideas for future videos in the comment section below. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep embracing your inner nude, dude.